Hello everyone. I hope you're doing great today, just like me. And this is Shruti from People's Overseas, a leading company that specializes in providing foreign education and immigration. We represent more than 500 institutions in countries like Canada, USA, UK, Singapore, Germany, and many other European countries. So this video is first in the series of tips and tricks about listening, how to crack your listening test so that you receive more than 7 bands or more than 8 bands in your listening in the first test itself. So let's begin. To begin with, one should first be knowing what is the IELTS listening test all about. So the IELTS listening test, it lasts approximately for 30 minutes, and there are 4 parts to it with 10 questions in each of the parts. Okay, so and you are going to listen to the recording or the audio only once. So remember, it's a test that lasts for 30 minutes. There are 40 questions and in total, and there are 10 questions in 4 different parts, and you will listen to the recording only once. Okay, so now let's discuss the parts first. So the first part is audio between 2 speakers, and it's mostly an enquiry form. Okay, so if you want to go to an hotel, make a reservation, so you are going to call to that person, receptionist, and you're going to ask about all the reservation questions to the receptionist. So that is audio between 2 speakers, and generally it is an enquiry form. The second audio is in monologue. Monologue means a person, only one person is speaking. So it is the audio of a person speaking about certain topic. Now the first and the second part, these are related to some social issue context. That is, these are the topics related to your day-to-day life. So yes, you might have heard these topics or heard this conversation into your day-to-day life. You may have had that conversation with someone in your day-to-day life. Okay, so these parts are relatively easier parts. Now moving on to the part third and to part fourth. The part third is a group discussion or a conversation between 3 to 4 people. The part 4 again is a monologue. In the part 3, it is a conversation. It can be a conversation between a group of 4 college students discussing about their assignment, or discussing about a thesis, or discussing about the exam they are going to have. The fourth part is going to be a part again with a monologue, where a professor is discussing or is explaining some topics, or an archaeologist has performed a survey, has found something important, has dug up something important, and is explaining, or a marine biologist is speaking about a particular type of marine animal. Okay, so the part third and the part 4 is related to academic or educational context. So let me revise it to you. Part 1 and part 2 is to your day-to-day life, is to a certain or some social issues. Part 3 and 4, it is little tough, and they are related to academic or educational context. Now moving on to the type of questions you will get in your listening. There are certain types of questions like multiple choice question, where the question has 4 answers and you have to pick up the correct answer by listening to the audio. The second one is match the following information. There are some set of information in the part A and the other set of information in the part B. You have to listen to the audio and match the informations there. There is some completion of sentence. It can be in form of one part of the sentence is given. You have to find out the other part of the sentence from listening to the audio, or it could be fill in the blanks. Okay, then there is completion of tables, there is completion of a diagram, or there is a completion of a flow chart, and most importantly there are maps. So you have to listen to the audio and you have to fill in all these informations. Now it is very important to remember that the audio is going to be played just once. So yes, all the 40 questions you have to answer by listening to the audio only once. Now this becomes a bit tricky. You know, people generally, or students generally, face problem in listening to the audio and going through the questions and answering them simultaneously. So there are certain tips and tricks which this video is going to discuss, which I'm sure if implemented will fetch you the result, which fetch you the required result of more than 7 bands or 7 bands at least. Okay, so the first important trick or the first important tip is any person who is taking an IELTS listening test should be able to train himself or herself in multitasking. Okay, you have to multitask yourself. You have to listen to the audio, you have to go through the questions, you have to focus on the question and listen to the audio and pick up the answer from the audio. So yes, a person has to be very efficient in multitasking, and there are certain ways you can do that. First is I'm going to discuss some tips over here to help you to multitask. The first important tip or trick is to keep on practicing. A person has to at least listen to take 2 to 3 listening tests in a day to help you. The more you practice, the more you will be good at multitasking. The more you will be able to adapt yourself to multitasking. Okay, now moving on to the second tip. The second tip is there are 3 different types of accents or dialects which are used in an IELTS listening test. First is the Canadian, second one is the British, and third one is the Australian dialect or Australian accent. So the audios which you are going to listen is probably from these dialects, or have the people talking are from these dialects, be it British, be it Canadian, or be it Australian. And so when you listen to, or when you give at least 2 or 3 tests, you yourself make accustomed to their pronunciation or to their twang. Okay, because each language has their own way of pronunciation, common words or difficult words. Okay, so the more you get yourself used to that pronunciation or to that language or to that dialogue, the more easily you are going to able to understand, to gauge the words, to gauge the tone of the speaker. Listening, like I always mention, when a language is just not the words spoken, it is also the expression a person uses, it is also the tone a person uses, it is also the stress on a particular word or a particular sentence that a person uses gives the language its form. So when you listen to, or when you give 2-3 tests every day, you are making yourself used to that tone, you are making yourself used to that expression which the speaker is using in the audio. So this definitely helps. The third tip is, the more you read, the more you become aware of the synonyms or the phrasal synonyms. Okay, so the more you know the synonyms, the more you will be able to understand, okay, this word has, whatever the word a speaker has spoken, you will be able to know the meaning of it. That would in turn help you to give you the answer in multiple choice questions, because these questions, trust me, are not direct, they are indirect questions. You are not going to, the speaker is speaking in an indirect speech, so it will take an effort for you to understand the context of the audio. So the more you read, the more you know the synonyms, the more you know the language, it is going to help you. Fourth most important tip is to know, or to be attentive to know that this audio is going to be played for once. So you have to give your 100% for that 30 minutes to that audio itself. Okay, you have to be more attentive, you have to maintain you have to train yourself to be in that pace of the audio. If the audio is moving, if the speaker is speaking very fast, you have to focus your attention or move your attention according to the pace of the speaker. This is the most important trick. Why? Because if you are not attentive, if you are lacking in focus, the audio will move very fast forward, and you would be stuck into a certain part of that conversation, and you will miss the audios, and the audio is played only once, so you'll miss that particular part. So it is very important to make yourself accustomed to the pace of the audio that is being played. The fifth important tip is, you will always get you will always get 30 seconds of time to refer to the next questions or to refer to the questions about which the audio is going to be played about. Okay, so you have to make the most use of those 30 seconds. You have to go through the questions, list of the questions, be attentive towards informations like no more than 3 words, no more than 2 words, or only one number only. Okay, one number only or one word only. So make yourself skim the questions, what are the questions, and be very specific about reading the instructions. You have to make the most use of those 30 seconds which you get before the audio begins. Then it is important when you are practicing to not to repeat the audio, to not to rewind the audio if you have missed a certain part of the conversation. Why? Because you need to train yourself as per the test which you are going to give. And in the test, the audio is going to be being played for just once. So it is very important that whenever you are practicing at home or wherever you are just practicing with while putting the audio only once. You make sure, do not give into that grid, or do not give into the temptation of repeating the audio. Okay, it is very important. Then the last but not the least and the most important tip of the entire video is that if a conversation is being played, okay, certain information is going to be repeated. You have to be very careful and be very attentive to listen to some contradictory words like but, okay, and some expressions like oh. So this is the accent which they are using, okay. If the conversation is going, but if you listen to a word like but, however, although, on the contrary, so these, now you have to be very attentive when you listen to these words, because now the entire course of the listening is being changed. The entire course of the answer is being changed. So the speaker had agreed to a certain answer first, but after, when the speaker says however, on the contrary, or but, oh, I think, now he's going to change the answer. So this is very important to focus or to divert your focus onto the next sentence the speaker is going to speak after using such contradictory words. Okay, and please, if you want to score more than 7 bands or 7.5 bands, it is very important, like I mentioned earlier, to at least practice 2 to 3 tests each day. Okay, I hope you found this video very informative. I hope that I have shed some light to the listening tips and tricks, and if it is so, please do mention in the comments and about how the experience was, and also if there is something you would like me to answer or shed some guidance on, you are most welcome to comment and ask the questions, and I would surely revert to you. So this is Shruti, and we are done with the first part of the series of how the tips and tricks, and this was about listening. I hope to read your comments, and if you like the audio, or if you like this video, please do press that thumbs up button, press that bell icon also once you have subscribed to us, and I wish you a great day ahead. This is me, Shruti, from People's Overseas, signing off. Bye bye, take care.